guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here again for another one of our total beginners guide to making a junk journal from an altered book series. And so far what we've done is we've prepped our book and we've talked about different things that you could use for adding colour and adding, you know, pattern and texture and things like that inside your book. So I thought what we do today is just get on and just start, you know, start doing some of those things and add in some colour and add in some texture and things like that. So basically I've got obviously the paper that we, you know, that we prepped last time. Now I'm filming this on the same day, so my paper's not quite dry. I'm still leaving it there drying. I've got the paper bag that we talked about using. And then I've also got this little book, which I did show in the last video, which I thought would be absolutely lovely to use in this journal. And then I've also got this book, which again, I showed this in the last video. It's called Garden Flowers in Colour. You'll have to excuse that I don't have the cover on it, I'm afraid. I've used the cover, I think, somewhere else. So this is Garden Flowers in Colour, a picture, Encyclopedia of Flowers. It's by G.A. Stevens, and this is 1936. But of course you do not have to use vintage books. Use whatever, you know, whatever you've got kind of to hand. But this just has a lot of gorgeous, gorgeous pictures. And, you know, the reason I'm using this and have pulled this in is because we talked about in the last video, you know, if this is your absolute first time of making a journal, the chances are you're not going to have like a whole bunch of decorative papers or anything like that. So this is just a brilliant, you know, a brilliant resource basically to use, is just some old books and things, you know, if you've got them. So I'm just going to kind of go through and just use some of these absolutely gorgeous little pictures that are in this book. I mean, I'm very lucky because this book is absolutely full to the brim of just the sweetest little pictures. I mean, look at how gorgeous that is. Absolutely gorgeous. So I mean, straight away these are going to look just absolutely awesome. You know, every single picture is absolutely lovely. This is an Enid Blyton Little Animal Stories. I have used this book somewhere else. Yeah, I can't remember, but I've already half used this book, so this is kind of just the remaining pages. But I'm going to marry it with some of these images from here, and then just some other pictures and, you know, papers and some fabrics and things like that. Again, just really trying to bear in mind that, you know, not everyone maybe has got access to kind of decorative papers and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to definitely be a bit of a struggle for me because I love using my decorative papers and things. But hopefully we're going to be able to kind of, you know, pull it off and do something really, really nice. So for instance, this girl here, I mean, I could make her into a complete pocket on the page, or I could kind of have her as like, you know, what is known in the junk journal world as like a little flip out like that. So I might do that. So what I want to do is back her first of all onto some other paper. So let's just take again this book of the garden flowers. And as you can see, I mean, straight away on the very first page, I've got just this plain sheet of paper. So we can just take that to put this page onto in order to make a little flip from this, or what's known as a little flip. So what I'm going to do is just cut this down to get it to, you know, a sort of size that I would like it to be. So I'll just trim that down like that. I think I'll just cut some off at the bottom as well. Okay, now I might want to take it down slightly smaller still, but let's just have a look. Now I don't tend to do my pages in order, so I'm going to just probably jump around in the book, you know, a fair bit. But, you know, you can do it however you find easiest, basically. So if I were to have her kind of on this page, I'm thinking I could have her as a little foldy up flip, which would be quite nice. Now I wonder if I could actually even get her... not really, without cutting off some of that image, and that would be a bit of a shame. So that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue her down onto this page. And I'm going to glue her on this side because I rather like all this kind of mottling that's going on that page there. So I'm just going to take her down like this. Okay, and I might have to get rid of these little rough edges, to be honest. Yeah, I'll just get rid of those. So, okay. And then I'm just going to glue her down onto that piece of paper. So I just go as quite, close as I can to the edges, and then just, in the middle. So you've got plenty of glue on there. And then we just then stick that down. Now I then kind of try and glue it as close as I can to the edges, so as I have, less cutting out to do, basically. So again, let me just get my glue spreader. Okie dokie, oops. Oh, there we go. I'll just spread that out like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut her down like that. And then what I want to do is cut here, sort of an extra, centimetre or so. That's going to be my fold then, for how that's going to kind of then be a sort of flip up, basically meaning an interactive piece on the page. So just trim it down here at the side then. So much for saving myself the cutting. I've now cut it anyway, but it doesn't matter. Right, so that's that piece. Now this piece here, kind of thinking I'm going to cut around these flowers so they're cut in shape, I think. So just go in like that. Okay. Okie dokie. Like that. Okay. Right, and then just in on this one. And then I think I might just tear now the rest of it. So we'll see how this looks. It might look absolutely rubbish, but we'll see. Okay, right, so if I just bring my book in now, we're just going to work on, these pages. They just happen to be the open pages. And I'm going to now fold this down, what's going to be like the hinge, basically. Okay. I'm just wondering, or we could have her kind of over there. Or we could have her tucked into those flowers there and then cut these ones out. Perhaps we'll do that. So, I mean, it's all just kind of trial and error, really. And just cut these ones out. Okay, I'm just going to separate these ones. So that one there. Okay. Okay. So that's those flowers. And then let's get rid of this bottom bit now. That's not looking too great. Can't decide now. Do you think that flower's meant to go that way up? I think it probably is. Okay. Once you cut things off, it's always quite hard to remember which way up they're supposed to go. get rid of that edge because that's just making that a little bit on the big side. And then we could have that kind of on there. So that looks quite pretty, doesn't it? And then we've got obviously some of our painted papers that we did before, which we could obviously then, you know, place down. I mean, to be honest, we could even paint directly onto here if we wanted to. Let's just have a look. Okay, got this one which is brighter, so that's quite nice. Unfortunately, this is not really dry because I'm filming this obviously on the same day. So yeah, I didn't obviously give it enough time to dry, which is a bit of a shame. But that might be quite nice. Just have a look. Okay, well, I quite like that, to be honest. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to glue this piece down here. As I say, this is not really very dry, so, you know, it's not ideal. I should have really just left it a bit longer, but we'll try and go for it anyway. Okay. Like that. Okay. And then this piece here, we could make into a little pocket. So what we want to do is, again, we want to kind of reinforce this really, so it's a little bit thicker because this is obviously quite flimsy book page. So what we could do is just take a piece of book page. So I'm just going to take one that, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use. Let me just flick through. Oh, that's the problem because it's quite a nice book, to be honest. So most of the pages are very pretty. Right, let's go for this one. And all I'm going to do is glue this down onto here. Oops. Like that. Okay. Okay, so we glue that down and then just spread that glue out. So that's just reinforced that, just to make that slightly more robust to have as a pocket, because otherwise obviously it was very, very thin and so wouldn't be very strong for tucking things, you know, in and out of. So we're just going to tear down there. Like that. Okay. So like that. Let me just tear off the other little bits that are just there left lingering about. Okay, so that looks quite good. Now, the one thing that I can't kind of quite manage to live without, I'm afraid, and I realise this is kind of for beginners and, you know, this is all about using things that hopefully you've already got. But there is one product that if you're going to buy any one thing that's going to literally transform your junk journal, it's this. So it's the Tim Holtz Distress Ink. This is Vintage Photo, this colour, and an inker. So these are just called a blending tool. If you Google them or, you know, search them up on Amazon or whatever, they're going to come up. And you buy them, I think it's normally a pack of 2. Mine is very, very mucky, so please excuse the state of it. They're normally a pack of 2 with a couple of spare, you know, blendy sponges. These are the things that are going to kind of transform your pages from looking, you know, quite... not saying modern, but, you know, that you've just kind of made, to making them look and have a much more vintage kind of feel to them. So let's have a look and we'll kind of, you know, I'll show you what I mean by this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this down and then I'm going to kind of paint little sections of this page with just some household ivory paint. because I really like that kind of look in my journals and things. I think it's, you know, a really easy, quick way to be able to, you know, get effects, I suppose, going onto your page. So I'm just going to glue this down first of all, like that. And I'm just going to glue it on those two sides. This piece here is left, you know, open because obviously we've got a pocket then here. So just in case things want to go down, you know, into the corner, then they can. So that's going to just go onto that page, oops, onto that page. And again, just going to use my wipe to glue that and stick that down. Okay. Like that. And then this is going to be on my other side of the page. So what I'm going to do before I stick that down is, now I've got a huge drum of paint here. It's too big. I can't get this onto the desk, I'm afraid. But basically, this is household paint. It is household, what we call over here, matte emulsion paint. Mine is a crown paint and it's called Antique Cream. I've used this before in lots of videos. It's a colour that I've got in my house in a couple of rooms, and it's a colour that I've used in journals lots of times because it's a gorgeous colour. So, and of course, you know, you could get any colours that you want, but this is very cost effective to use this, you know, this kind of paint. So I'm just going to take the top off. Hold on. Okay, so all I've done is I've poured a little bit of the paint into here, into my little paint palette. And then I've just squirted some water on. I mean, often I don't even use the water. I just go for it with the paint. So, you know, again, no specific rules or anything like that. You just play around and, you know, see how it is. I'm just going to kind of dab it off on here first, just to make sure it's, you know, not picking up any other colours from the brush or anything where I haven't brushed the, you know, used the brush, rinsed the brush out previously. And then all I'm going to do is just get some of this onto my page. Okay, now quite often I might paint these pages beforehand, sometimes I paint them afterwards. I do pretty much always include some sort of painted pages in my altered book journals because it gives obviously a great, you know, a great base for your journaling. And also, you know, it allows you to get quite a, you know, nice cohesive kind of look going on. And then I'm going to just now go over to the facing page. Oops. Go over to the facing page. And again, just get some down there going on onto the page. Because this is now giving you your writing space, obviously. You know, having kind of some white space in here, this is going to be effectively your writing space. Okay, like that. Okie dokie. Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to move that out to the side so it's not in the way, and then bring this back into frame. Now I've got obviously my little flip up. Now I'm just deciding what I want to do with her, whether I'd like to ink her up or whether I might edge the, you know, edge around these edges with, again, maybe some paint. And again, I mean, I could even edge around them with some red to make that, you know, make her stand out a little bit more. So that might be quite a nice idea. So again, let me just pop the book to one side. I've still got my watercolour pencils. And again, you know, you don't have to have watercolour pencils or anything like that. Just use anything that you've got that you might fancy using. So I'm just going to go in here, just down the edge with that watercolour pencil. Like that. Around the whole piece. Okay, and then I'm going to just take another brush here. Again, just get some water going to just blend that in a bit on the edge. Okay. I can just take that in a little bit more like that as well. Okay. So now she's got a bit more of a sort of pinky background going on, which is quite nice, isn't it? Okay, right, let's just pop these bits out of the way. And then what I'm going to do, I'm quite lucky because I have a heat tool, which I'm going to dry my page. Now, obviously, if you're new to crafting and you don't have a heat tool, you just need to wait for 10 minutes and, you know, wait for your piece to dry before you can, you know, glue your pieces down. Okay, so that's drying quite nicely. Now, whilst that was drying, I also have just made from that brown paper bag, I've just drawn around a little square block that I happen to have. So again, if you want to do anything like this, you can draw around anything with a brown Sharpie. Again, you don't need to have a Sharpie, you can use anything you like. And I've just literally done this little sort of journaling label. And then what I've done is I've inked it up with my distress ink that I talked about just now, to make it look a bit more vintage. Now I might shrink this down because it is quite large to have on this page. So yeah, I'm thinking I might shrink it down a little bit. So let's just cut it across here, I think. And then do we want it smaller here, or do we want it just as long? Perhaps tear it down a bit there as well. That just looks a little bit better. Because again, I had things like this going on in the, you know, my junk journal and my son's junk journal. We had stamps for this. So I've just kind of, you know, made this up just to have like another little element going on the page. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have her kind of stuck on here like that. Now, the other thing that you can do is I've got some tea bags here. You could always put like some tea bags down. These are just normal, you know, regular tea bags, which I'd bought a packet of these tea bags and I've emptied out the tea, and then I think I coffee dyed them, ironically, not tea stained them, but I'm sure I coffee dyed them, I think, if I recall. So I'm thinking, you know, you could always kind of decorate some of your pages up with things like this as well. And again, all you would have to do is literally just kind of glue this down and paste it onto the page. And then that would just add another little sort of element going onto your page. So let's do that. So I'll just take my glue that I've been using, and then I'm just going to spread it around a bit with my finger. And then just going to stick my tea bag on like that, just to give another little bit of interest to the page and another texture going on the page like that. Okay, and then I'm going to stick my main image, my focal point, down here, and she's just going to go on at the top like that, and then just obviously press that down here. Okay, and then my little journaling spot, I'm going to, I think, have down here. I've got obviously that red flower that we cut out, I can just use down here. And then we've got these other flowers that we cut out, we could have kind of on here, I think. And again, then I might just paint over these a little bit so they're not just like plonked on there, if you see what I mean. They would then blend in better with the rest of the page if they're painted. Now I'm just wondering whether I might like a little bit of that paper bag. So I'm just going to get that other piece that I just threw into the bin. Might like to just have that there. Okay. And it's just little things like this that actually make sort of a difference to, you know, how interactive your page is and how kind of interesting your page is going to kind of look. So, I mean, again, we could kind of have another piece of tea bag, or we could tear the tea bag down. And then we could kind of, you know, ruffle it at the edge or something like that if we want to. Could even kind of probably put it here in the middle of the flower, although that perhaps looks a little bit strange. Right, let's glue this down first. So again, I'm just going to ink that up before I glue it. Okay. And we're just going to glue this down here. Like that. Okay. And then our flower, we're just going to put on like that. So again, just going to ink the flower up, but bearing in mind I'm probably going to paint over this as well. So I'm not kind of too worried. Oh, I can't really tell. Can't tell. I think it's supposed to go like that. Okay, so let's just pop that flower down. Okay, just press that down like that. Whoops, got a bit of paint on there by mistake. Right, okay, so that's there. And then I've got actually some more of the book page, and I'm just thinking maybe cut this out and have it over here. So let me just, again, just cut that little image out. So this one's tiny, but I thought it might just look quite pretty in that background. So let's just trim that down. So we might just have that there, and again maybe as a little pocket on that page. And then this is going to kind of untuck here, which I maybe might want something else on there as well. So let's just have a look. Now I'm wondering again, do I need to actually put these onto some brown paper bag as a bit of a, you know, decorative edge to them? So just take a bit of that paper bag and just tearing off a bit to make it sort of more manageable to do on camera. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this down onto the paper bag. Okay, like that. Again, then just press that down with the wipe. Okay. Now I could cut around the edges, or we could tear around the edges. I think I would prefer it torn, to be honest. I think the torn look just really looks really good on a junk journal. So yeah, I'm going to just tear around that. Okay. Again, I can't really tell now which way this is supposed to go. But what we could do is just tear it off at the bottom. So as we've now shrunk it down a bit so as it fits a bit better. We haven't glued our little journaling piece on, so we might move that up, I think. Okay, right, let's just tear this down here a fraction more and then just around there. Okay, so I'm just going to now glue this on, because this is going to just act as a little kind of closure, what we would call a kind of little tuck here, that's holding this down. So that's what its kind of main purpose is there, is to just hold that piece in. Okay. Again, I can just add a little bit more glue there to that piece. Okay, and yeah, okay, so that's all right. Okay, so I'm quite liking how that looks. Do we like this here? Let me just check. Or would we prefer maybe this one? Let me just cut this one out. Okay. Oh, I think that one's nicer actually, yeah. Yep, definitely like that one better. And I'm just wondering whether there might be some other sort of pinky flowers that I could just cut off and have around her. So this here is quite huge, I realise, but just wonder whether I might be able to, let's just have a look. So I'm kind of what I would call fussy tearing around this. And because it's flowers, I'm really not too worried, you know, if I kind of tear bits off and what have you, because, you know, they're flowers. Nobody really knows what shape they actually originally were. So, you know, I'm not going to kind of stress too much about they must be perfect or anything, because, you know, what's perfect for a flower? So, there you go. Wow, they're huge. They're absolutely huge. Perhaps I need that there. Oh, I don't know now. I wonder whether we could just tear a little tiny bit off. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Otherwise they were like monstrous, absolutely monstrous. Yeah, okay, so I quite like how that looks. And then this, I think, again, I mean, we could even have this as a little foldy piece, but I might just have it as a little pocket. So again, what I'm going to do is just pop that down onto some book page. So as to reinforce it and just make it a bit thicker. So like this. Okay. Gosh, please excuse my filthy hands now, which are now covered in paint. I do apologise. Okay. And then we're just going to trim this down here. Okay. Okay. Oops. And then we can just have that as a little pocket up there that we can just kind of slot something in. So that looks quite pretty, doesn't it? Again, just wondering whether we might want to kind of edge this at all. I feel like it needs some sort of red up there. Just again, just tear off a little section of that flower. Oops. Oh, I don't know. I love this here. This one definitely, I absolutely love. So I'm just going to pop that one on. Looks really pretty on there. Perhaps that's a bit better like that. Oh, I can't get it quite how I'd like it. For some reason, it's it's just not really quite going how I'd like it to look. Well, I'm going to pop it like that, and then what I'm going to do is just paint some of that ivory paint around again, which will hopefully bring it together. This I'm popping down like a pocket. So again, we just pop glue on 3 sides, and then what you can do is obviously then tuck something into here, like a little ticket or something. So that's in there, like that. Whoa. Okay. like that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab my ivory paint that I'd kind of used just now. Okay. Again, let's just dab that off so I've not got too much on there. And I'm just going to go over here a little bit so that flower's not quite so, you know, plonked on the page as it was looking. And again, just a bit round there as well. And then just a little bit here, I think, as well. Okay, that looks good, doesn't it? Okie dokie. I'm liking how that looks. Right. So then I think what we now want to do, just put the paint down, is I'm going to add a little bit of fabric, like a little fabric ruffle. Oh, you know what we didn't do? Not put this down. So I'm just going to put this little journaling spot down here, like that. Again, we could just add another little bit of that red flower. Oops, just going to press that down a bit more. So again, just let's ink this up a tiny bit. Okay, that's just in there like that. Right, okay. So that's looking quite pretty now, isn't it? And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the fabric, which again, I showed this in the last video, and this was one of my son's old shirts. I've literally painted the coffee dye over it, exactly as I did with the paper. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut this edge off here with the buttonholes. Well, not cut it, sorry, tear it off with the buttonholes. Well, I guess I might use that somewhere in the journal, so I won't throw it away yet. And then I'm just going to go in and just tear off a little slim sort of strip there. Okay, so I'm just going to put that out of the way. And then what we'll do is we'll just make a little ruffle somewhere on the page. So we could have it down here in the corner, or we could have it running along the side of the page. We could have it running along this bit here. Or we could have it even on this page, to be honest. So I quite like it on this page, and then I might just put something over here. So I'm just going to take my stapler and attach that to the page just using the stapler. So bear with me while I just move things around. Okay. Okie dokie. So all I'm doing is folding my fabric over at rough points. Again, you know, I really am not taking any care over this. I'm not being fussy. Oops, now I've run out of staples. Hold on, let me just get some more. Right, okay, so I'm just going to then ruffle this up. So like I was saying, I'm not paying any attention to how my ruffles are. You know, the more kind of ruffly and ready that they are, the better. I don't want to kind of have this, you know, really ordered look. I want it to look very eclectic and, you know, just kind of it's landed there appearance. Then I'm just going to kind of cut that little piece off where it was overhanging the page. Okie dokie. Right. So not bad. It's looking not bad so far. And then I've just got this little scrap of fabric, obviously, that I've just trimmed off. So we could have this somewhere on this side, just to kind of give it a more cohesive look. And then I've got these little buttons that were also on the shirt. So I'm just going to cut one of those off. Oh, cut it off and just drop it straight away. Oh dear. Right, let me cut another one off because it's far quicker than trying to find it. Trying to find the one that I've dropped. Come on, okay. Okie dokie. Okay. Right, just get that thread Might even leave the thread hanging because that's kind of quite cute. Not so sure that that button looks so good now. Thought it was going to look really cute, but maybe I'm not loving it after all. Quite like it on that page actually. But I've also got some other buttons. So, I mean, again, you know, hopefully kind of you guys probably have got, you know, odd buttons here and there from, you know, just clothes and things like that that you've perhaps had, you know, and thrown away, you know, old clothes that you've thrown away now and things like that. So you can kind of just do anything really to get some buttons and things. But yeah, you probably want to, you know, have a rummage through and see if you've got some old clothes with some buttons and things that you could take off. So now I'm just hoping that this paint's dry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ink my entire page now, and this is hopefully where the magic happens, and it will now just start to look much more vintage and, you know, much more old and kind of pulled together, because this is now bringing everything into the same tone, which previously it perhaps wasn't. So this is the stuff that I said just now is like the magic thing. If you're going to purchase one thing, it's probably this that I would recommend. You know, and that's just my opinion. That's not, you know, it's not kind of maybe everyone's opinion, but I think this is the thing that's going to kind of be the biggest transformation, because once you do this, your whole thing just looks completely vintage and old and, you know, really kind of yummy and scrumptious. So that's that. Let's just take this now. Still can't quite decide where to put this, or even whether to put it. I think I probably quite like it over there. Oh, I don't know. Or perhaps there. Yeah, let's just have it there. So I'm just going to literally hot glue this down because it's just really nice and quick. So just take my hot glue, pop that down there. And then just take my button, like that. Okay. Okay, so that looks super cute, doesn't it? Now, all you want to do now to finish your page off is just add a couple of tags to be able to pull out. So let's just have a look and see what I've got that I can just make a couple of quick tags from. So we've got this little remainder, or, you know, remaining piece of the book page. So I'm just going to cut this down here, like that. And this is obviously super narrow, which hopefully would be just ideal for popping into there. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to take it down slightly more. It needs to be pretty thin, like that. Okay. And then I'm just going to fold my top, just going to make a sort of faux envelope, kind of flip down, what's known as a faux envelope flip down. So we just meet the two in the middle like that. And then all we're going to do is fold this section up to meet that top part like that. Okay, and then you fold that over, and then you've got a super cute little envelope. And again, you can just take your ink then and ink around that, and it's going to then look even more, you know, vintage and things instead of bright. So you can just then have that like that, and that can just go in there, I'm hoping. Oh, it still might be too wide, but if not, we can just have it like that. Then I want to have another little tag for in here, and then maybe in here. So what I kind of quite like doing is, you know, to make a sort of more cohesive look against the, or across the two pages, I will take a little image from this book, like that, and I will just make a little tag from this book. So maybe even just fold this over like that, and then I'm just going to glue that together Oops. You know, and then this is like the quickest, easiest, you know, journal card on the planet, because literally we've just folded the book page in half. Okay, like that. Okay, and then what you can do is obviously have that tucked in there, but you could also then just put some paint around the edges of that so that it's again got that, you know, nice cohesive kind of look. So I'll just pull in my paint again. And then just go around the edges. Like that. Okay. Just over some of that text, and then like that. Let me just wipe my desk down, and to be honest, I should have definitely done this the other way round, but never mind. Hindsight's such a wonderful thing, isn't it? Then all I'm going to do is on the back, I'm just going to go over the entire back with that paint like that, and that becomes then your journaling space, you know, your journaling spot. So like that. Okay. Okie dokie. Now, obviously I can't tuck this into that pocket yet because obviously it needs to dry, but that's going to be my little journaling card for that pocket. So let me just put that to one side for a moment. Okay, let me just wipe my desk down again. Okie dokie, move this out of the way. And do we need anything else? I mean, we could always put a tag in here as well. I'm not sure whether it really even needs a tag in there, to be honest. It looks, you know, really quite pretty as it is. But that's another kind of option. So this tag here would go into there. And again, I mean, I could just finish it off by just putting like a little bit of the red flowers that we have partially used. So again, just like tear some of those off and then just tear around them, because that just again then, you know, keeps the whole thing flowing and kind of all, you know, tying in perfectly together. So, you know, maybe even kind of up there or something. Or could use a little bit of the fabric. So let me just pull in the fabric again. So like here, got just this little sort of edge. So quite a straggly little bit here. And what we could do is just make a little sort of fabric tab there. Like that. And we could even perhaps have the flowers there as well. To be honest, I don't even think it probably needs the flowers, but we could, I guess, have them, oh, perhaps we'll have them like that. So I'm just going to then staple this onto here. Oops, my stapler's over there, hold on. Okay. So, I mean, as I say, this is obviously quite flimsy and wet at the moment. So, yeah, I won't actually kind of tuck it into the pocket. But then we could obviously have those flowers there. And then that's tying that really well into the rest of the page. And then just the final thing, I think, that we'd need to do then on this little journaling card. So again, just glue those flowers on. Okay, and then the final thing that I think we'd need to do is just again bring in my watercolour pencils and bring in the red that we used just now for going around there, and just go around the edge of here. I mean, obviously this paint's quite wet, so it's not, you know, not ideal really, but obviously I'm doing this on the fly and kind of quickly for the video, but we can just go around the edge of here again, like that. And then again, just take our brush and some water. Okay. Just around the edge. Okay, like that. Bit down here. Oops. Just that little bit up there. Okay, and that then pulls the whole thing together, because of course then that's got that pinky tone, you know, running through it as the rest of the page does as well. So yeah, really like how that all looks. So I hope that you like it, and maybe it's kind of inspired you and, you know, given you the confidence to try and do your own journal page, or, you know, make your own journal, hopefully. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And I may come back and do some more in this journal, and hopefully we can come up with some other ideas as well. So yeah, have fun if you're starting off on your first journal page, and I really hope that this is helping. So thank you so much for watching, and see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.